How's it going, Giants fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo, and it's a great day to discuss Xavier McKinney and why he could be an all-pro level safety in the future. Xavier McKinney during his rookie season had Lisfranc injury during training camp, missed a good portion of the season, only played in 6 games, but then took one of the biggest jumps forward I've ever seen a player take on the defensive side, specifically at the safety position. We've seen quarterbacks do it before, but McKinney took a step forward that was unprecedented. Nobody really saw it coming. We had high hopes, but not like this. This was arguably a Pro Bowl level season. A lot of people thought he got kind of screwed there, but he has all pro potential. And I want to discuss how the scheme from Patrick Graham to Wink Martindale is going to impact his game, maybe give him even a little bit more of that aggressive style and hopefully improve his numbers and efficiency overall. But this guy has all the potential in the world. I want to discuss him and break his play down and what he's going to do this upcoming season, especially if he takes another big step forward, Anthony. Before we dive into the X-Man, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. Had a nice birthday weekend, turned 21. I've been drunk for 3 days, but I'm ready. I'm sober again. I'm ready to talk about the New York Giants. As many of you know, I'm a huge Xavier McKinney fan. If you've been a follower of the channel for quite a while, I think even way before he even took a snap in the NFL, I made a YouTube video. It was titled Why Xavier McKinney Will Be a Star. And it was a film breakdown video, and I dove into all the film on Xavier McKinney at Alabama, and I explained the traits that he has that will transcend to the NFL and make him a star almost instantly. And I was totally right about it. This is definitely like my best take and well documented take because that video has like 15,000 views. It's one of the most successful videos on this channel. And I did a lot of work on Xavier McKinney to bring you guys some good analysis there. And my analysis was spot on. All the things that I talk about in that video that makes Xavier McKinney a great player, they are the reasons that he's been a great player in the NFL so far. His ability to get to the sideline and play as a single high safety, but also his ability to get into the box and defend the run. He's really a strong safety, but he plays free safety. He can do it all. He's a very versatile player. And as Alex mentioned, in his sophomore season, he had a huge sophomore leap. It kind of just propelled himself into stardom in his second year. Interceptions left and right, and really looks like one of the best young safeties in the NFL, like I knew he would be. And I'm super excited for him. He's one of my favorite players on the Giants currently, and the future is really bright on the back end of the Giants defense for as long as Xavier McKinney is playing there.
Yeah, look, McKinney has, like I said before, all the potential in the world. And, what is the probability he ends up becoming an all-pro level player? Well, it's tough to get to that level, but a lot of people seem to think that he could be a top 10 safety this upcoming season. And for a myriad of reasons, he was a stud last year, right? He led all safeties, or at least was tied for first place among safeties with 5 interceptions. In 6 games last year, he had in 2020, his rookie season, he had 25 combined tackles and an interception coming in the last game of the season against the Cowboys. But then last year, 17 games, looked healthy the entire year, did not have any significant issues. 93 combined tackles for a free safety is pretty damn impressive. 59 solo tackles. He had a tackle for a loss, 10 passes defended, an interception, or rather a touchdown, a pick 6, and 5 interceptions. So one game that really stood out to me, though, was that game against the Raiders. I don't know if you remember that game against Las Vegas in East Rutherford. And Derek Carr, who had an unbelievable season, ended up making the playoffs and making a good run there, really struggled against Xavier McKinney. He was just tantalizing the entire game, and he really baited Derek Carr into making some pretty bad throws, which stood out to me. You know what I mean? Like when you can make force quarterbacks like that to make mistakes, it shows how good of a player you are. And Xavier McKinney had a pick 6 in that game, and he had an interception to seal it down the stretch. And he showed off that sideline to sideline speed that he does have. And Derek Carr threw a pass up to Edwards. I forget exactly what it was, but he gunned it to the sideline, undercut it, and picked it off. It was a really nice play. He had 2 interceptions against the Rams, a tip off of Cooper Kupp and another one from the backup quarterback at the end of the game. But McKinney, it seems to be one of those players. Like, you remember Stevie Brown a couple of years ago, and he was like one of those guys that was just like in the right place at the right time. Like, guys like always, that's an underrated positive. You know what I mean? Like, how many times you hear like that guy he's in the right place at the right time? If you ever like talk about soccer, like guys just in the right place at the right time, tap in goal. Yeah, for football, in the right place at the right time, a tipped pass, interception. Xavier McKinney is always around the football, which is what I love the most about him. He has a great football IQ, great football instincts. He just finds his way around the ball carrier and manages to make plays. And, I think that really stood out. And his ability to stop against the run also is a pretty underrated factor. Definitely a good coverage safety, but he's able to step up against the run. Now, I'm curious on your thoughts about Wink Martindale's system, right? Going from Patrick Graham's bend, don't break defense, you're expecting him to play a lot of zone coverage, kind of hold down the back end of the field. Now you're looking at an aggressive single high safety system that really relies on that free safety to be strong back there. Xavier McKinney's got to be a stud for this defense to work. And we know he's a stud. We know he's got the speed. We know he's got the tangible qualities, and he's a leader. So he has everything. I spoke to Brian Walker. He trained him a couple days ago, and he was like, "This guy is an absolute monster. Like, he is so fast. He runs like he's a cornerback. Like, he moves like a corner. He's so fluid and smooth with his hips, and that type of talent at the free safety position is dangerous." And then, you spoke about Anthony when he was a rookie, but like that video that you created about how good he was as a run stopper, going up and making stops at the second level. How do you think that Wink Martindale can get the most out of Xavier McKinney in his third year in the NFL?
I think the way you get the most out of Xavier McKinney is have him do a little bit of everything, because he can do a little bit of everything. You just mentioned it. Great in coverage. He plays really well in man coverage as well, and I really love that about him. You can line him up in the slot. There was this game when I was taking a look at the film and doing that film breakdown, while he was a rookie. It's this game against Texas A&M it was, and there was a slot receiver who was just destroying Alabama's defense all game long. Like, he was just picking up yard after yard, and Xavier McKinney's playing strong safety, and the slot receiver is just wrecking Alabama's slot cornerback, and it was just bad. And then they moved Xavier McKinney into the slot. I don't think that receiver had another reception the rest of the game. Xavier McKinney just shut him down completely. There was like this deep in route that the receiver ran where he just kept getting open against the slot corner. But once Xavier McKinney guarded him on it, broke it up just right away. He bit down on the pass, broke it up, and Xavier McKinney, you could see just his reactions and everything in man coverage. Like, he just got that ability to stick with a shifty receiver. He's a very good man coverage corner if he needs to be, which is super valuable for his safety. And then, of course, we take a look at these games from last season, like against Philly, when he kind of just is ranging on the back half of the field, and then he's able to bite down to the sideline, make an interception, and again, versus the Raiders as well. So he's really got the ability to play single high. He can play, on a half. He can play in the box. He can play in the slot. And that's how you maximize his potential. You just kind of line him up everywhere. That season that the Giants drafted Xavier McKinney, everybody wanted Isaiah Simmons because he was the ultimate Swiss Army knife. He was the linebacker that can play safety, that can play slot corner, that can play edge rusher. He can line up anywhere, right? The Giants didn't get him. And then in round 2, they got Xavier McKinney, who's arguably the more versatile player in the draft class, or maybe just a little less versatile, whatever. Those were the 2 most versatile players in the draft class, and the Giants ended up with Xavier McKinney, who so far has been a much better player anyway. That was the right pick. They made the right call, waiting to get Xavier McKinney in round 2, and really that was a home run selection. If you remember how high the Giants were on Xavier McKinney, they were attempting to trade down in the second round, had a deal in place with the Chicago Bears, but Xavier McKinney was on the board, so they called off the deal and drafted Xavier McKinney. That really says a lot about how highly the Giants viewed him as a prospect, and they were right for that. Shout out Dave Gettleman, I guess. He kind of made the right call there. Joe Judge had his Alabama connections. They all were all in on Xavier McKinney, and as they should have been, because he's already proven to be that player that they thought they were getting and so much more. So when you're looking at Wink Martindale's defense, it's going to be man coverage heavy. There's going to be a lot of blitzing. Those are 2 things that Xavier McKinney does really well for safety, playing in man coverage and blitzing, because he can get into the box. He's formidable. He's strong. He's quick. He can get around offensive linemen, definitely get through some tight ends and running blocks. He's got that ability as well. He might be a little bit skinnier undersized, but he's strong and he's fast. So he can make an impact as a blitzer, and bet yourself that you're going to see Wink Martindale send him on some creative blitzes, but also on those plays where maybe the Giants are blitzing, 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers, right? It's just an all-out blitz, a 7-man rush. Xavier McKinney is going to step up in that slot, and he is going to play man coverage. And that's the value of Xavier McKinney in Wink Martindale's defense. When he's sending the house, sending 7 blitzers at a time, and then you just got 4 guys playing man coverage across the board, you need good man coverage corners and safeties. And Xavier McKinney has that ability to play that man coverage really, really well close to the line of scrimmage. And that's the difference maker in this Wink Martindale defense. The Giants are going to have to find more players with that ability on this defense over the next couple of years. It's a young defense. They just rebuilt it. They kind of tore the secondary to shreds this offseason. They do need to find better man coverage corners over the next couple of years as they build this defense for Wink Martindale. But right now, having Xavier McKinney is perfect for Wink Martindale. It's exactly what what he needed, a man coverage safety. And he's got that. And it's going to make a huge impact when the Giants are sending the house on all of those blitzes in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at how many reps Xavier McKinney spent on the defensive line last year, 29 reps he spent at the D line, kind of in that blitzing role. I think that number shoots up to maybe double, maybe even triple that. With having Julian Love on the field, guys that can kind of rotate back into that free safety spot, they can get pretty creative with how they use Xavier McKinney. And just to give you an idea of some other snap counts, he spent 148 total snaps in the box, 135 at slot corner. And 807 at free safety. So obviously primarily a free safety here. That's where he's going to make the most impact. But, fast forward to this spring during voluntary, involuntary workouts, he was there, right? Like, of course, everyone freaks out about players who aren't there. Kadarius Toney, suddenly he's being traded. That didn't happen. But Xavier McKinney showed up and he was there and he's been working diligently to improve his game every single day. And that's pretty respectable in my opinion. I think I give him a lot of respect for that. And, according to Matt Sitak, who is one of the Giants team reporters, he said that McKinney looks really freaking good. And specifically, the quote was, "On the other side of the ball, the player who turned heads is also one of the players most people are excited to see in Wink Martindale's defense, Xavier McKinney. The young safety was getting his hands on the ball during team drills in almost every practice. McKinney recorded several interceptions through 11-on-11 drills and forced even more incompletions. He led the Giants with 5 interceptions last season, and his ability to find the ball was easy to see throughout the spring. Martindale's defense with the Ravens had a track record for producing some strong seasons from safeties, which could bode well for McKinney." So if that is the case, you have Wink Martindale's system that really emphasizes good safeties and makes them look just tremendous. This is the best situation McKinney could fall into, right? Because he's going to be aggressive. He's going to be around the ball. Wink Martindale's going to say, if you see an opportunity, you take it. You know what I mean? Like, you gun for that. You take an opportunity for an interception, turn the ball over, whatever it's going to be. I think we see the best version of Xavier McKinney this year, and that's pretty tough to say considering how great he looked last season. I think he should have been a Pro Bowler, but there's a lot of good safeties in the league, but it's even harder to find one that's not only great in coverage. Like, you look at Jamel Adams, for example, right? Like, Jamel Adams was a great safety. He could do everything. He could drop back into coverage. He could play this. He's a strong safety, not the best in free safety coverage, but he kind of fell off when he joined the Seattle Seahawks. You know what I mean? Like, and Seattle has traditionally had a very good defense. So it's kind of interesting to see, the more reliance on coverage safeties these days, with the NFL going in that direction. It's kind of awesome to see McKinney excelling in that category, but then he's a pretty damn good run stopper as well, Anthony. What are your thoughts?
See, when he was coming out of college, I thought that he was a better run defender than he was in coverage, but I thought that he was really good in both facets of the game. But I think the Jamel Adams point there is one that I want to build on because, he did kind of fall off when he was traded to the Seahawks. Like, when Jamel Adams was on the Jets, he was probably the best safety in the NFL in his prime, right? He was just insane. Then he wanted to get paid. He got paid, but he got traded to get paid. And now he's trying to get paid again, I think. I don't know. It's really a sticky situation with Jamel Adams. He kind of just took his career and nosedived it into the lake. But if you take a look at his career with the Jets, there was a significant difference between the way that he was used in New York versus the way that he is used in Seattle. When he was with the Jets built their entire defense around Jamel Adams. He was asked to do everything. All that run stopping stuff that you're talking about, he excelled at. But he was also asked to do a lot in man coverage, zone coverage. He was a true Swiss Army knife on the Jets defense. And they made sure to maximize every single skill that he had and utilize it in every single way possible. Then he goes to the Jets, and they don't use him the same way. It's a different defensive scheme. He's not the focal point of the defense, and he's not asked to do as much. And people thought, if he's not asked to do as much, he'll only be better because he's just specializing in the certain things that he's really good at. But in reality, he was so good because he did everything, and it allowed him to do things a certain way that masked other things that he didn't do as well because he was just doing everything, So then he starts doing less, and he starts playing less good. And for Xavier McKinney, that is something that I could be maybe a little bit concerned about because I think in Wink Martindale's defense, I'm expecting him to do everything. And I think that's what Xavier McKinney needs. If you want to make the comparison to Jamel Adams, right? Going to a different defensive scheme, Jamel Adams needed to continue to do everything for the defense, have the defense be built around him. And Xavier McKinney, I think, is similar. If the Giants defense in 2022 and beyond is built around Xavier McKinney and he is asked to do everything, you will maximize the potential of Xavier McKinney, a do-it-all safety that can really make an impact anywhere on the field. That's how they need to use him. Don't try to make him a box safety. Don't try to make him a free safety, a deep safety. Don't put him into a box, basically. because that's when you limit Xavier McKinney's skill set. And that's what happened to Jamel Adams on the Seahawks. And now I think he wants to leave the Seahawks because he wants to go somewhere that knows how to use him properly. I believe it was Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator of the Jets, that mean, nasty guy that targeted Odell Beckham Jr. in that preseason game with the Browns. That guy was a great defensive coordinator. Maybe not the best human, but he was a great defensive coordinator, and he knew how to get the most out of a very versatile safety in Jamel Adams. Since then, Jamel Adams has never been utilized the same way in a defensive scheme, and that is ultimately what has killed his career so far. For Xavier McKinney, in order for him to continue to take those next steps and continue to improve and become that all-pro safety that we believe he can be, he needs to be the focal point of the Giants defense, needs to be used everywhere as that Swiss Army knife, and that will maximize his potential and that will grow his career further.
Yeah, look, the word Swiss Army knife just makes me so happy because that is what we love players for the Giants to have, right? That multitude of versatility. Look at the offensive side, like guys like Kadarius Toney, you can use him as an extension to the running game. You can use him as a freaking quarterback if you wanted to. Wandale, a lot of people are saying how he's going to be an extension to the running game, but also a dominant receiver. If they can incorporate a good system around him. But like that Swiss Army knife feature is so valuable in today's NFL. And Xavier McKinney's got all the tools, my friends. He is a tangible beast. He is intangibly a leader, a good personality. He works hard. He stays humble. One thing I love about him is that he just doesn't talk. You know what I mean? He talks with his teammates and he obviously like hypes them up and the energy is there, but like, he's not a guy to like talk to the media and talk shit about other players and just talk smack. Like, he kind of stays in his lane and works. And like, I respect that. That's the culture that we've been trying to build on this team for a long time. And Xavier McKinney didn't need a big mentor to do it. Like the Giants always try to bring in like the Antoine Bethayas of the world to help like smooth over positions or whatever it might be. And like, it's just unnecessary. Like have good coaching, get the right players, the right mentalities, and let them work and do what they got to do behind the scenes and just put them in spots to succeed. McKinney's one of those exceptions. Like the defense, I'll tell you this. Good coaching, you look at the offense and defense and tell me how many good players the defense has curated on the Giants compared to the offensive side, right? Look at the defensive side. You got Azeez Ojulari coming up. And Patrick Graham, by the way, did a great job in certain aspects. I thought he was a great coach, aside from a couple of things that just weren't really his fault, like the offense not being able to stay on the field and his team just being gassed. Like some of the guys that they developed, Bradbury turned into a legitimate CB1 during his time with the Giants. McKinney developed into a beast. Azeez Ojulari turned into a beast. Blake Martinez obviously was always pretty good, but he became an actually even more impactful player during that first season with the Giants. They got a lot of value out of guys like Tay Crowder and Julian Love. Talk about Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. There's a lot of pieces on this team that have really taken a step forward. Leonard Williams had some of his best seasons with Patrick Graham. So I'll tell you what, if Wink Martindale is half the defensive coordinator that we believe him to be, and we know how good he is, we know his track record, all of these guys are going to have an unbelievable season, if they are committed. And I think Kayvon Thibodeau is another guy to throw into the mix there. Like the Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari tandem could be one of the best young duos in the league this year, if they, stay healthy and whatnot, which is obviously always a big problem for the Giants. But Xavier McKinney, man, really awesome player. Would love to hear your thoughts about him below in the YouTube comments. When do you think he'll be an All-Pro? Do you think that he can become that good, or what are your projections for him this upcoming year? I think, and Anthony believes that he's going to be a stud in Wink Martindale's system for obvious reasons. But as always, my friends, make sure to like and subscribe on the channel, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants episode.
TVSO.